You know what would really make your day? If like a person leaned over, like, "Oh, is that Astral Chain?"
I love Astral Chain.
That entire flight.
Local wireless get too.
These guys cannot get over the fact that there's a game called Astral Chain.
I love it.
Why do we have the Avian cast?
We're
logo?
half Death Battle cast today and half Avian cast today.
Oh,
I guess.
cool.
I don't know.
What is this?
Jordan just stood up and goes, "Ooh,
Time to change it.
What is it?
Live. Uh-oh. Don't see. Secret. Covering up the behind the scenes.
It is the
so we're
behind the
just coming
scenes
out the gate
podcast.
with this episode."
Oh yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great. Very professional show here.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks you guys for joining us for another episode of the Death Battle cast.
A lot to talk about today.
We are the crew and cast of Death Battle. It sounds weird when I do it the other way
Yeah, it
around.
does.
Yeah.
I'm Ben, the voice of Wiz in that Death Battle show.
Shadow Play Boomstick.
You're so mysterious. In that Death Battle show, it's Death Battle branding everywhere.
Serious.
I'm
Literally,
Tori.
it's our logo's
Right.
what is that? 3 times right
What
now.
is that? What is that?
I'm Tori. I'm the animation director for Weiss Mitsuru.
There you go.
All right.
And I'm Josh. I co-wrote and edited this
Yeah.
episode.
Woo! Yes. And if you haven't seen it, the latest Death Battle did just air for first members as we're recording this, and on YouTube this upcoming Wednesday. If you're watching this live. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it's already out on YouTube. Weiss vs. Mitsuru.
If you're watching this on YouTube, then it's already out on YouTube.
Yes, because this show.
I know.
You're ready for the
Thursday.
confusing thing. This show comes out on YouTube on Thursday.
Yeah.
Death Battle comes out on YouTube on Wednesday.
But
we record this live on Tuesday.
yeah.
Death Battle goes live for first members on Monday.
This is what happens when you get lost in the astral
Something
chain.
happens on Wednesday. Oh yeah, Death Battle comes out on
Astral
Wednesday.
chain has got him.
We're all
Nothing happens on
Kinks in
Friday.
the astral chain.
Every time you say Astral Chain, in my head, a line goes across the title. And
Why
just
were you guys
split.
even talking about? Did they show Astral Chain?
Yes!
Yeah, they did.
That was one of the
Missed that.
there was it was what? That was one of the best ones. It was action, it's platinum.
It was in the middle of the JRPG
Yeah.
sandwich.
Oh, in the Nintendo
Yeah.
Direct one? Yeah, like
It
the
was in
middle
the
of
action
that,
game
just
block.
Everything blurred together for me because they're all just JRPG or like traditional Japanese kind of sword wielding heroes
Yeah.
slicing at monsters. Like there were like 15 of those games.
But you
all
got a
back
but
to
you
back
got a
to back.
persona in this one.
So real quick, we're gonna talk about Weiss versus Mitsuru here
Astral
soon,
Chain.
but also it's E3, so there's a lot of video game
Yes.
news coming out. And we just finished watching the Nintendo Direct, which is where the Astral Chain
Yeah.
bit is coming
Yeah,
from.
that's where we're at in terms of E3 schedule right now.
I gotta get a shirt.
I'm actually not sure what the schedule is for tomorrow, but I believe there's some more stuff happening Wednesday. But as of right now, we are recording this right after the Nintendo Direct, and they announced like Animal Crossing and some new Smash Brothers news and
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Astral Chain.
Come on, you
stuff.
gotta say it with some.
I don't know why Tori
You gotta
sold.
say it with some gumption. It's a kick-ass
Barely.
platinum fucking action game like Bayonetta, like Metal Gear, like
Wait, Platinum's
Metal
making-
Gear Rising Revengeance.
Platinum's making
Bayonetta, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful
No wonder you're so
101. These crazy
Yeah.
cool action games, and you're like Astral Chain. No, it's Astral Chain.
Astral Chain.
Astral, and then it's like shing, and then the chains wrap around the title.
All right. Well, we'll talk about E3 in a bit. First things first, let's talk about the Death Battle. So, what we've kind of decided to start doing is do Q&A sessions after the YouTube release has gone live. But we literally just decided to do this with the last episode.
Right.
And we're throwing things off again with this episode because we might have a special guest coming in next week. So I want to kind of cover the Q&A this week so that we can focus on that next week. But fortunately, I think most people will agree with this episode. I don't think it's going to be nearly as controversial as something like the last one that we did, Ben 10 Green Lantern. This one seems like everybody's kind of in agreement, but there are a couple questions that I got from the first release that I figured we should address.
Also, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, you should probably do that.
Or
Yes.
Ruby in general.
Well, and Persona, like that's kind of just a given with
We're
Death
spoiling
Battle.
everything.
We don't try
Spoiling
to
Astral
spoil
Chain.
a lot about the series, but we try to give kind of an overall view of what the character is like, how their story affects them as a character, and what kind of abilities they have in that series. So there are some spoilers when you watch a Death Battle about a character, but the overall series, generally, we don't try to spoil the whole thing.
But sometimes you're a fan of a series, but you haven't finished like the latest game or latest thing, and then we're doing a death battle on it, and you're like, oh god, I have to do like when like I'm a huge fan of Berserk, but I never finished the manga. Like I was far in, and then we were gonna do that episode, and I was like, oh no, I can't have anything spoiled. So then I just started like deep diving the manga.
Well, lucky for you, the Berserk manga never finished,
Yep.
which actually kind of leads into our first question. Since Mitsuru's story is quote-unquote finished and Weiss's story is not, isn't this an unfair matchup? Weiss could gain some skill in the next season of Ruby that changes this result. Spoilers, Weiss loses. So this is a question that we get a lot because it's kind of just something that we have to deal with Death Battle
everything.
just in general. This is not unique to this battle.
Right.
This is not unique to, even close to unique, because the vast majority of matchups that we bring into Death Battle will involve characters who are, they're part of large franchises.
Yep.
So because of that, there's a good chance that a new part of their story will be released sometime in the future, if not already planned.
Yeah.
And
Right.
just because Mitsuru's story, as far as we know, is wrapped up, doesn't actually mean it is. Like, there could be a new Persona movie, there could be a new Persona manga that further explores Mitsuru. Of course, Weiss has a new season of Ruby coming out. Like, this is just something we got to deal with Death Battle all the time. So the way we look at it is we can't really trip ourselves over this complication too much. We just have to focus on the characters as they are when this episode is being made, because otherwise we just wouldn't be able to do 90% of the matchups people want to see. It would just be impossible.
Yeah, and like you're saying, even when you think the story's complete,
Right.
sometimes they drop another Dragon Ball movie on you.
Fucking Dragon
Don't
Ball.
they? I know.
Battle of Gods. I mean, we should have known. We should
All
have
right,
known.
fine. Those are done. We'll really address it with the second one. Everything's fine. Dragon Ball Super's coming. Fuck me. Like,
But I mean, that's also the Death Battle curse, right?
Yeah.
Like, we just announced, another spoiler, that Captain Falcon is going to be in the next Death Battle. Does this mean that maybe the Death Battle curse could make a new F-Zero game?
how funny would that be if that Nintendo
would've been awesome
At
if
Nintendo
awesome.
Direct, there's an F-Zero.
That would have been hilarious. Unfortunately, they didn't
I miss
because
F-Zero. That's such a fun
Nintendo
game.
hates F-Zero, I guess. I don't know why. I want a new F-Zero.
F-Zero.
It would have been great to have one on the
Didn't
Switch.
they have that really awesome arcade one, though?
Arcade, like ages ago.
Yeah.
I remember it being a very hard racing game. Like,
Oh, yeah. It was a challenging one.
It's real fast.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Like, you fuck up on a ramp, you fly off that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those bumpers. Ugh. Anyway.
Okay, so we'll just kind of breeze through the questions as quickly as we can so we can get to this E3 talk. But Weiss may have lost, but her death was way less brutal than any other death battle. Why wasn't she decapitated like every other death battle loser? This is the first death battle without blood. This proves your bias. This is kind of a culmination of a lot of different
There's other death
questions
battles
slash
without
complaints.
Yeah. But isn't there a little bit of blood? I'm asking you, animation director.
In her.
No,
There's not
Weiss,
at all
Weiss
in
has
her
a
death.
Weiss has a scar, but that's just by the.
So originally, if there was one thing, I would probably go back and change. Maybe have blood come down Mitsuru's shirt when she stabbed.
Yeah.
I don't think it was necessary.
Have, I know you wanted them to have like damage
Yeah.
on them. That wasn't like that was something that we were supposed to have, but just time and art.
Sure.
Yeah,
couldn't make it happen,
but I don't think this death was any less brutal than
Yeah, it's still pretty
general.
brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, but it
Fights.
also it's like an aesthetic thing too, right? So like it's kind of like this clean, kind of like classy type of fight.
Yeah.
I learned this from the Pokemon fight. I learned this from the Pokemon. Like you kind of want to like stay. Spoiler alert: I make mistakes too. Like you kind of like you want to. It's clean. We had this crazy new art style with this Unreal stuff, and it's all nice and
Yeah.
it's consistent. And like having like just this decapitation or blood kind of come out of nowhere would have seemed like a little bit off.
Yeah, and
in my
they're
opinion.
two like sophisticated characters.
Yeah.
It starts with this nice kind of sword play.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's fitting that it kind of ends the way that it
Yeah.
Yeah,
does.
we were going for kind of an elegant.
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
She's in a
fighting
giant block of
style.
ice.
Yes, yeah.
So, like,
she's dead.
still
Stabs
pretty rough.
with the rapier, which is not
Right.
exactly
Yeah.
the most bloody or gruesome kind of weapon.
Right.
Like you
In
just,
a giant
it's
block of ice.
big poke.
And it's ironic.
Honestly,
Yeah.
But I'll agree, it's probably our.
I thought it wasn't as brutal because we literally have her sword, which is in Ruby, very symbolic of the character, break apart.
Yeah.
Like,
but from like a gore standpoint, I understand. From like, blood and gore, like this is probably one of our most tame deaths.
no, absolutely not. There's been so many death battles where we don't have blood and gore. Like, it's not a standard for death battle. See, okay, I think it is easy for some people to misinterpret death battle as a sort of like excuse to put characters that aren't involved with violence and gore all that often in that sort of scenario, sort of like a Happy Tree Friends kind of thing. But that's not what death battle is.
Right.
That's kind of what we tried that way back when with the Ninja Turtles Battle Royale. People didn't really like seeing that.
Yeah.
So,
That was again my bad.
Death Battle kind of changed to better because what we're trying to do is we're not taking these characters and trying to create our own version of them.
Right.
We are taking these characters and representing them to the best of our ability, and that doesn't necessarily always mean that they should be ultra violent.
I think
it's not really how Death Battle works.
It could be like a property thing, right? So like another one that is gory, but not in like a very like grotesque way is like the Sephiroth Virgil one. So Virgil comes from a property to where like blood and violence and getting heads cut off and stabbed is like a thing. You don't really see that much. You don't really see that too much in like Final Fantasy VII or anything like that. So I think that him like being kind of like cleanly cut in half and like hurt a little bit kind of fit both. It was like a good middle for both tones. For sure. From properties. So like it kind of, I think it just depends, right? Like if you have Guts who comes from like a crazy gory like property or anything like that, then like if he wins, or did he fought Nightmare, right?
Nightmare.
Yeah.
And like his death or victory or whatever, vice versa, should be gory. Like because
there should be blood involved in that battle because that's what happens with the character. Absolutely. So next question. Also just to wrap that up, the finishing move is very heavily inspired by Mitsuru's final astral finish in cross battle. So we were just recreating that. Like, she's not cutting people in half.
That move instantly kills you
that with
too.
A rapier, really.
So
I mean,
you're dead. Like
all right. So next question: why did you include the Persona break when it's just a game mechanic from Persona 4 Arena and not part of the main series? And just wanted to address this real quick. One, Persona 4 Arena is technically part of the canon storyline. And two, it's not just from that game. That's the only time I think we've ever seen it in a game, but the Persona break feature does happen in the anime and in the manga.
Right, we showed it.
That's the thing.
We showed it in the episode.
Yeah. Which actually I did want to point out, there were some questions like this where we do briefly address the issue that people have in the episode, whether it's just like a real quick visual or in a tab. And I did notice some of you guys leaving some nice answers and kind of following up with some of the questions, which is great. Like there were some people questioning whether or not the time dilation ability would be an instant kill, and it's like, of course not, especially because Mitsuru has a bunch of counters to it with her like status effects spells and stuff, which we have in a tab. We don't really address because I thought it was kind of obvious why it wouldn't really work out. But I saw a bunch of people, you guys commenting, answering those questions yourselves in the comments, and thank you for addressing those and doing it so politely and nicely to everybody. That I love seeing that because it just helps the conversation, which Death Battle will naturally create, and the more positive and like communicative back and forth communication it can make, the better, as opposed to people just yelling at each other.
Even in the games, there are times in cutscenes where the personas get hurt and it affects the characters. Like throughout that series.
But the persona break specifically where it like destroys the persona temporarily. Yeah, I think that's what they're specifically referencing. How could Weiss even see Artemisia? Aren't personas invisible? No. I think some people might be getting confused with stands from JoJo. But also, there is sort of an implication that the personas are invisible in P2, Persona 2. And we talked about this with the research team quite a bit. One of the difficulties with this episode was how all the Persona games line up, because some of them use different rules. So are the Persona games one big timeline? Are they involved with each other? Clearly some of them are, because Mitsuru's interacting with other characters. Persona 4 Arena, she's in that game. But then Persona 2 has slightly different rules to their personas, and the world is a little different. So comparing and scaling across games was a little tricky in order to make it like understandable, especially in the format that Death Battle has, where we are not necessarily trying to build this video just for Persona fans. Like obviously that's in our minds. We're making this for Persona fans, but also everybody else is going to watch this episode.
Right.
So how do we explain all this crazy shit in a 20-minute or less episode? Sometimes you just don't have to, because it's not really important to the argument. Like we didn't really have to explore whether or not Persona 2 matters to Persona 3, because it's just not important to our argument. We don't need it to prove that Mitsuru wins, and
explaining that is complicated to the average viewer.
Canon in the same world. And also in Persona 2, like there are scenes where characters can't see, or non-Persona users can't see the personas. I think there's like a school setting or something like that where there's just demons everywhere, and for some reason nobody can see them. But then there are other scenes where they can.
Yeah.
So it's kind of inconsistent. So who knows what the fuck's going on in that game? Doesn't matter. We're focusing on Mitsuru. But yeah, so that's the general answer to that. There are plenty of people who could see Mitsuru's stands, even when she first summons what's the Penthesilea?
Yeah.
Like everybody in that room sees
see
it
it,
happen.
yeah.
They're like, "Oh shit, you just summoned a crazy demon thing. What's going on?" And they're just like normal people. So, and then last question, possibly the most important question, Chad, aka Boomstick. You said that you killed the interns. Is Jocelyn
That was
dead?
hilarious.
That was a good bit.
That was funny.
It's very
It was
funny.
pretty
That
good.
was.
But does this
You was
mean
like-
Jocelyn is
you were
dead?
like-
Oh no!
You were like, this code's soft. He's like, so is the intern.
Fun fact, that was improv.
Yeah.
I was dying. That was so. That has to be like the funniest.
And then
bit.
Eduardo improv the glasses as well.
It was
That
so funny. I
good
took a
script.
screenshot of that. I'm gonna tweet it out after it's out on YouTube. But yeah, no, Ben, I think because we changed something that was originally written, and then there was something
we
you get
originally
the
wrote
code,
the
and then so he just
explosions.
offhand, Ben just goes, "Oh, it's so soft," and then I just was just like, "So are the interns."
Yeah.
that
but
was
Jo-
hilarious.
great bit.
That was really good.
Jocelyn still lives.
Yes,
She-
Jocelyn is like the
she's-
senior intern.
Yes.
So.
It's the other ones that you don't know
You
about.
just, like,
Her
brushed
closet.
past it.
Her closet's like that fridge in Indiana Jones 4. She's fine in her little closet.
Oh, don't! How dare you? How dare you bring up that monstrosity?
No, but Wiz and Boomstick, in the canon of Death Battle, Wiz and Boomstick could never risk Jocelyn, because Jocelyn is the one who actually does all the work.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah, so she's off in her closet office doing the actual work, and unfortunately not getting the credit she deserves. But I'm sure that'll change one day.
So were the interns. I was cracking up. That was.
All right, so
great on the
like I
animation,
said,
too.
we're doing this a little differently than normal, with kind of an early Q&A for this. If there are any big questions that you think we missed or weren't addressed in the episode, just let us know, and we might do a couple next episode of Death Battle Cast. Just kind of splitting it up, just in case something does happen next episode, which could be kind of special.
Can I, real quick before we move on, can I just talk about how there's no way we can ever win the, like, you're biased conversation?
Oh, no, there's no
I
way.
know, but, like, so we called this out ahead of time, right? And we knew Weiss was going to lose, right? And then, of course, there are the arguments, like he said last time, that's like, oh, you only made her lose to trick us into thinking you're not biased, right?
Or
whatever.
or the one that I'm seeing-
What a plan.
The one that I'm actually seeing the most is that we made her lose to make up for the embarrassment that was the Ruby versus Ragna death battle, which doesn't exist. There's
I was so confused.
It's a DVS.
there's a Ruby versus Ragna
I was
DBX,
super confused.
which I don't think any of the team that worked on this was actually involved in. So I don't know. Whatever.
I was like, when?
But
what?
like, it got to the point where they're just like, there wasn't enough blood in her death. You are biased. Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Come on.
Amazing.
That's, again, we've talked about this a
I
bunch,
know.
but that,
I
like,
was
that's
like-
just kind of the nature of the show.
I know.
I thought it would
create
appease
some
them.
sort
Like
of-
when I found out that she dies, I was like, yes, this is great. This is to show them that we're not biased. I mean, my bad, but yes, this is awesome. Kill her. And like the Persona fan base are like diehard, so I
Yeah.
thought they'd be hype, and that will overshadow any potential thoughts of?
Well, for the
bias?
most part, I think they are. Like,
Okay.
this seems to be getting a generally positive reaction, and it hasn't gone, as we were recording this, it hasn't hit YouTube yet. So
Right.
for all I know, it hits YouTube and we get like 3,000 thumbs downs for some reason. I don't know why we would for this one, but
We'll see. I mean,
who knows? Like, again, Death Battle, we know Death Battle naturally causes arguments and controversy. We do our best to not try to I'm trying to think of the right word, take advantage of that or like really start going into that sort of realm. We don't try to argue with people a lot. Like, we're not here to specifically cause even more controversy and get people angry and fight with each other. Like, that's not what Death Battle's about. No. That's why we make an episode, we release it, we talk a little bit about it on this show, and then we kind of move on. Yep. It's like, the more we argue about it, the more hateful people are going to start getting even more hateful. People who just want to watch the episode are going to get targeted or whatever by hateful people. Like, we're not here to deal with that. We're here to just have fun with you guys, figure out an argument for these characters, for a character to win, present it to you, and see what you guys think of it. That's what the show's
and then
about.
play Astro Chain.
oh,
I'm sorry, my bad. Astro Chain. Astro Chain.
What was Miles' reaction or Kara's when you told
To
him?
Astro Chain?
Oh, no.
Yes.
They were just cool with what we made.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't any big, like, controversy or, oh no, how could you possibly do this reaction? It was more like, that's neat. Here's how you pronounce Myrtinaster. Like, that's what it was.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. So anyway, that kind of covers the Death Battle right now. If you haven't seen it, well, sorry, we just spoiled it. But let us know what you thought of the Death Battle, Weiss vs Mitsuru, and we will have a new Death Battle coming out in 3 weeks. Johnny Cage versus Captain Falcon. Battle of the super hype, punch-heavy celebrities.
Nice.
Super hot punch guy.
Yeah, super hype.
We could have said martial artists and celebrities.
because they
but-
specifically
I know
punch
they both-
guys.
I know they do.
Myrtinaster.
punchers.
What a name. Myrtinaster.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Myrtinaster.
Myrtinaster.
All right.
That sounds like a Japanese
It's time
name.
to talk about what's going on.
Myrtinasty.
Here's your moment, Tori.
Myrtinasty.
I mean,
What?
yeah, okay, so...
he got surprised. You just see.
Astro Chain.
So anyway,
God, he's been waiting the whole episode.
We
got there.
What was the mech game?
Damien X Machina.
Damien X Machina.
Damien?
Demon? Damien.
Damon.
I think it's a
Damien
guy's
X
name.
Machina.
It's Damien Machina.
Astro Chain Fire Emblem. Like, yeah, these games are cool. No more heroes. Like, damn, I need to buy a Switch.
So, what have you guys been thinking about the C3 so far?
I haven't had a chance to check out too much. I was hanging lights on my porch on Sunday, and then I've been at work.
Clearly the priority.
You're
Yeah.
hanging lights
Yeah.
on your porch? Mm-hmm. Are there not lights on your porch?
It's a really shitty one, and we bought these string lights. That
Oh, like
yeah.
a
We got
string lights on my
like a
porch.
little like
yeah,
Yeah.
they're all pretty.
like Christmas.
kind of, but it's like
6 months early.
The okay,
All
not
right.
Christmas lights.
Okay.
Anyway, that's not what I'm hyped about for E3. No, I mean, it's not just the little bits here and there. I mean, Microsoft announcing a new console, but not showing anything, which is kind of.
Well, we've known for a while that they're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
make a new console. It wasn't an announcement. It was more like, let's talk about what we're trying to do with this.
it, right?
Which
4
I thought was
times
kinda
more
cool.
powerful than the Xbox One.
We're using SSD as RAM.
No more loading time.
I'm like,
I mean, the stuff that they talked about was like they invented their own SSD to specifically try to make it as fast as possible. 120 FPS standard, I think. is
I
what they
will
did,
be
which-
very surprised.
I don't know. Yeah.
What's really interesting about that too is that if we're starting to get up into these frame rates, you're gonna need to play it on a better monitor. Like you're gonna need to get a performance gaming monitor to actually maximize. And like there's probably a lot of people who still play consoles on TVs, right? I mean, the majority, I would say. And like, there's gonna be this interesting shift. That was one of the first things I thought of. I was like, oh, like, what are they doing in terms of like hertz and stuff for like how that's gonna work? 'Cause
but like, how?
Can 4K TVs not generally do 120
I don't know.
FPS?
But like, how
a good
fucking like? At what point? Where's the cutoff for where your brain gives a shit?
Right.
Like, at
That's a good
60?
question.
Oh no, dude. Well.
On a
Yeah,
TV?
you're right. There's certain amount you can see, and also like The one thing I've never like really dived deep into is like monitor stuff. I'm not like a huge monitor geek, so I might be getting some of this wrong. But like, there was a huge difference when I jumped to 144 hertz monitor. Like, that was crazy. And
yeah, but like if you play a game that's outputting 120 frames per second, if you play it on a normal TV, you're probably gonna see 60, right?
probably.
So like at one point,
I don't know where the
does
cutoff
your fucking brain? What's the cutoff on your brain to where it's like how much motherfucking smoother can you get? Like, what is life's frame rate?
According to Google, the maximum amount of frames per second the human eye can see is 1,000.
Oh, what?
So we got
We'll notice.
1,000?
We'll notice that'll feel so freaky.
That's crazy.
60 already feels crazy, right?
Yeah, it's like that soap opera look and
Yeah,
shows and
yeah.
things.
Like, no one's probably even fucking animating at 120 frames. Like, they're like, oh, hell no, that's super expensive. That's super expensive. And so now these 24 frames, these 30 frames, even 60 frames, now this animation is being pushed further than what it was designed for, and then that's when it started looking weird, like the soap opera shit. Like,
Yeah.
So like, at what point is it like, in just general, we're like, okay, you want to
no
shoot
longer
people?
matters.
You want to shoot
Yeah,
people
yeah.
faster? You like your reaction time? Like,
I mean that's very subjective.
I guess.
If Google is right, which they often are, and 1,000 frames per second is the maximum we can see. It also mentions that the maximum. This is actually not Google. This is Quora.com. Whatever
I
that
don't know
is.
what
you went to a fake website?
Quora.com. It's just what Google brings up. They say that the most people can kind of tell that they're seeing. What is it? The average human tasked with detecting what frame rate he or she is looking at can accurately guess up to around 150 frames per second.
Bam.
So that might be what you're kind of thinking
Yeah.
of, is like the average amount that matters to a person.
Like if you
It's
see
about
a
big
150.
gap.
Like if you right?
We're so bad at detecting.
Like if you see 1,000
150 to
frames,
1,000.
do you just faint?
Our brain-
Like, do you just get?
I saw God!
Do you just get lost? And you're like, what's wrong? Oh no! Turn the TV up. It's at 1,000 frames.
Just sitting there
And then he
quiet.
comes back to real life and shit's just slower. Like he just can't comprehend
shit.
normal life anymore.
If we'd watched stuff at 1,000 frames per second all the time and we went back to the real world, would it be like slow motion?
like, man,
Well, no, because our eyes are constantly then seeing at 1,000 frames per
I
second.
guess so.
I don't know, man. That'd be trippy.
Yeah.
Yo, what's your eyes clock in at?
You probably feel drunk. You're probably like, what is happening?
Well, I know that was kind of a thing with when the Hobbit movies came out and Peter Jackson was
yeah.
trying.
That was so
what
weird.
It, 48
It was
frames
weird.
per second or
So
something like that.
Yeah. It was strange.
But it was still shot like a 24 frames per second movie, so like the
48
motion blur and stuff
frames.
was just weird, and people would feel like
Uncomfortable.
nauseous
Oh, yeah.
watching it.
Frames?
It was-
Well,
Yeah.
it might have been that, or it could have also just been the movies themselves.
Well,
Damn.
bit of both.
the movies were fine. They
They
just had
fucked
lots of
them up.
problems. They're still very well made movies.
The movies were fine. They just had lots of
You
problems.
can have a fine movie with lots of problems.
I've never seen them.
Peter Jackson knows how to make a movie.
That's fine.
It's okay.
All right, not
Is these one of
really
the
a
things where I
great
don't-
version of
is
the
these one of the
Hobbit.
things where I don't have to see?
You don't.
If you hated
Okay.
all of the like really good attention to detail and source material from the first one, and a lot of practical effects, and everybody having a good time on set, which made the performances come out really good. If you hated all that, you'll love the Hobbit trilogy.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a lot of problems. But
Wait,
let-
it's Lord
let's-
of the Rings, though, right?
yeah.
Yes. Yay!
did it. We should put up a
Wait.
picture of all the dwarves
Now I'm
and see if you can
confused.
tell which one is
Now I'm
Gimli.
confused. They made a spin-off to Lord of the Rings?
Oh, don't you dare! I know you better. I know you're fucking with me.
I'm not fucking with you. Wait, I'm not asking this as in. I'm not asking this as in. Does this exist?
Can we get
I'm
some popcorn
saying,
in here?
right? They took that because the Hobbit is already in Lord of the Rings,
Yes.
right?
The
Is
Hobbit.
it-
One Hobbit is in it. Yeah.
Like a superhero.
Wait,
And
but,
now I am
but,
the Hobbit.
But in Lord
Tell
of the
me-
Rings, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wasn't he already? He was the one that was taking the ring to be destroyed.
Yeah.
No, that's
Right?
Nope. That's his
A
nephew.
Hobbit.
That's his nephew.
A Hobbit was.
Okay, so in the Hobbit, aren't they still taking the ring to be destroyed?
Okay. All right.
No.
What are they doing?
Give me a second.
What are they doing in the Hobbit then?
Here's what's
Stuff with
throwing you. Here's
dwarves.
what's throwing you off.
There's a
So-
dragon.
Summarize this up real
Here's
What
fast.
are they
the thing.
doing in the Hobbit?
The Hobbit is actually the first book that came out. After The Hobbit, it was followed up with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But the Lord of the Rings became this whole thing. So Peter Jackson made the Lord of the Rings trilogy first, and then he made The Hobbit, which is a prequel to the Lord of the Rings. Except
No, you're confusing him. Tolkien wrote The Hobbit first.
So the Hobbit came
Hobbit
first.
was successful.
Yes. Yeah.
Then Tolkien was like, all right, I'm going to make this new trilogy kind of as a
So
sequel
Lord
to
of
The
the Rings
Hobbit.
is a sequel.
yes.
To the Hobbit.
A sequel
Yes.
trilogy. It's one book versus 3 books.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, so the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is the second Hobbit to the
Lord of the Rings is the second Hobbit.
to the
Sure.
first
Listen,
Hobbit.
Fellowship of the Ring
All right.
is The Hobbit 2.
Hobbit.
Hobbit too.
Okay. I got you. I got you.
The little guy.
Right. So the Hobbit, his name is Bilbo Baggins, by the way.
What?
Bilbo.
Astral
no.
chain.
I said
That's his
Bilbo.
favorite game, actually.
All right. So, yeah. So listen, the story of the Hobbit is
Playing
about
that in the land of the elves.
the story of the Hobbit is about this unlikely adventurer going out of his little area and going on an adventure. And
Right, I got all that.
through there, he finds the ring, and they don't
Okay.
know anything's bad with it. Right? It can in the Hobbit, it's basically like, hey, it can turn you invisible.
We
and-
really don't have to explain the whole fucking story of Lord of the
I
Rings
just
right now.
needed
We
to
don't
know.
have to
No,
explain
he
the
doesn't.
whole one. I just need
Chad,
to know where the second
Do
Hobbit.
you think he's going to remember after this? He's
Where
not.
did the
He
second
doesn't
Hobbit-
care.
Is
I
he
know,
like
I'm not
a
gonna-
son?
he doesn't
Is he like
care.
a son or like another Hobbit?
his nephew.
from the
Nephew.
clan.
Yeah,
Nephew.
he's his nephew. So basically,
Clan.
by the time
Clan.
Gandalf realized that the ring that Bilbo found is actually the One Ring, he shows back up and is like, "Yo, that shit's really dangerous."
Yeah.
But Bilbo's old as shit now. Well, actually, he's not. He was preserved for a while, but he's like, "It's time for me to not and just to go on." And he's gonna fuck off and go on another adventure and leave the ring. And so his nephew takes up the mantle of like, "Let's go fucking destroy this ring."
What?
And then he goes to Hogwarts and he learns how to be a wizard.
He knows the ring is bad, so he let his nephew fuck with it.
Well, originally,
Just watch the fucking
Yeah, just
movies.
go.
How about that?
I'm not gonna fucking do it. It's already. I already know what happened.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I don't think any Lord of the Rings games were announced.
but Star Wars.
Yo, that Star Wars game.
Star Wars game.
That Star Wars game looked cold. I like that actor.
Look, what?
Co?
Look, Co?
Cold.
Oh.
As in cool, nice, fresh, awesome. For I don't know. I don't. It looks.
Wait, maybe I'm just not hip with the lingo. Is cold like a better cool?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's deeper and it's cool
Sure.
temperature.
That's so cold.
This is why I'm head of the urban department here at Reese.
I also appreciate when you stop to explain that you made your voice whiter. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would get it.
That's what I have to do. No, the Star Wars game looks pretty cool. Looks awesome. Looks great. Because and this is interesting because I don't like Star Wars stuff because I generally think it's boring. Except the most recent movies, I thought those were cool because I like Rey.
Yeah. Ray's great.
I like Rey. I don't like Anakin and all those other people.
Nobody
likes
likes
And I
Anakin.
don't like the Samuel L. Jackson character.
unless you're into the
I thought
cartoon.
that was weird.
Mace Windu. Well, you're quoting the prequel, so no wonder you didn't enjoy it.
Well, I like that's the one with the General Grievous.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 3.
You nailed
That's a
it.
prequel though.
General Grievance. Yes.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, but he gets shot in the chest.
Yeah,
That's
I
how he
know.
dies. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I
Anyways,
know. I know. Anyway, I like that. So the little robot is like a Star Wars thing.
Which
Like that's
one?
in every one. Which like having a little robot.
Oh, yes, got it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love the
I
idea
do.
that it's a little robot that attaches to your back and it crawls around. It's
Yeah,
great.
no,
it's like a
that's
little
cool.
raccoon thing on your
yeah.
back.
I also like that actor. So this is the question I have.
Cat, I guess, would be more. Not,
This is
I
the
don't know why
question I
thought
have. They
raccoon,
have
whatever.
Forrest Whitaker, right?
Yep.
And Forrest Whitaker
Of all
was.
characters to bring back, his.
I was just about to
character.
say he
Yeah.
was a character in Rogue One, which I also like.
which
Yeah.
is actually a character from the Clone Wars. Who's
Oh!
not played by Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, I didn't know that. So is this before the plans to kill the Death Star shit?
It has to be because he
Okay.
fucking dies in Rogue One. Spoilers.
Well,
he just kind of stands there and lets an explosion
It was
kill him.
all right. I was so mad at that part because you're just like, this is a really interesting character, like cool, like, and it's just
Yeah.
like, go on, and they're like, not. I mean, there's like plenty of room on this
There's
ship,
a
bro.
ship right
like,
there.
You can just like get on it, and he's like, no, it's my time. And I'm like,
Save the dream.
Save the
Poor
dream.
Steve.
Save rebellion.
He didn't want to
You
do
can
any
do
more
it with
movies.
me. I mean, actually, it'd be really fucking helpful because you seem to know a lot, so it'd be real great. if
He
you
didn't
get
want
on
to do
this
any
ship.
more movies.
I have plans.
And then he turns, and we just see the explosion.
I'm sorry, my Google Calendar's all filled up.
that game is cool. I heard a few people didn't like the actor who's playing like the Jedi. I like him. He's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
He was
fine.
awful in Gotham, but he's awesome in Shameless. He's a pretty cool actor. I like him.
Yeah. I don't know.
Combat looks fun.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It does.
It looks pretty straightforward, which I'm not sure if I like. Like very linear, very much. Oh, use the force to push and pull things, and that's all.
Did you get that from that?
Yeah,
it seemed like he was doing a bunch of cool
It seems
stuff.
like there was a lot of moments where they have to get through this obstacle, and the obstacle's solution is to just force pull or force push.
I feel like that's just
wouldn't you?
all you do.
I feel like,
Well, I'm like,
I
that's
feel like
cool.
that's just Star Wars in general.
But couldn't you do more with the force than that? Maybe it's just because it's early in the game and that's the only
You
power you
unlock
start with.
stuff.
And you unlock
Yeah.
new
that's
things.
just Star Wars in general. They either force, push,
sure.
or pull
And
people.
I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, well, the lightsaber combat isn't as good as Force Unleashed or
that game's jank though.
or the Jedi Knight series, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
That game,
Lightsaber combat has never been good
yeah,
in video games.
Yeah,
because there's never been a good lightsaber
There's no
combat video
contact
game.
because the lightsaber would just fucking go through anything.
Yeah, well, in Unleashed, it's almost kind of Devil May Cry ish, where
Yeah.
it's just like hack and slash, go to town. You're
Which
just-
makes sense.
You're
It's
just cutting
lightsaber.
down a health bar, which is fine. It gets kind of old after a while for something like Force Unleashed.
true.
I think there were combos in that game, but nobody used the combos because you could just mash the attack button
Yeah,
and just kill
it was
people.
weird. So-
and then the Jedi Knight series was even worse. Like that one
Wasn't that the one where you just throw your lightsaber like all the time?
Well, you threw it because that was the best way to kill people.
Got it.
But there was lightsaber combat. You could switch between strong, medium, and heavy styles, which I think people look back on right now and think like, oh, that was cool. You could switch between different styles. But no matter what style you used, the lightsaber combat in those games always boiled down to you walk up to somebody, you hold attack, and you just go until they die. Like, that's it. That's how it works.
The exact sound it made too.
Yes. Like it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered with the styles was whether or not you could deflect blaster bolts.
Right.
Like heavy couldn't deflect them as well as the light style, basically. But which is cool. It's better than in Force Unleashed, where you could just hold the block button and you were invincible.
Yep.
You just block
You
everything,
block everything.
and every laser goes back and kills somebody. So you could just walk into a room, hold that, and everybody dies.
Well, it seems like the few enemy that they showed in the trailer seems like they can fight lightsabers pretty effectively.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm interested in because, like, I was talking shit about Jedi Knight. I do want to say that the Jedi Knight games are my favorite Star Wars games. Like, Jedi Outcast is probably my favorite Star Wars game. But a lot of that is because of the different guns and the different combat that you have and the different force powers. That's why I kind of want more force powers from this because all
like,
the
I wanna be
different
a space
force powers.
wizard.
Yes, that was the best thing about Jedi Knight, though, learning the different powers and making combos with them and building them up to be more and more powerful. Like, that was awesome. So more of that would be cool. And I hope that gets incorporated into Fallen Order, which I hate that it's called Fallen Order because I just keep confusing it with First Order.
Yeah, that's what I
from
keep
the,
doing too.
From the sequel movies. Like, what is it called again? Jedi First Order? That doesn't make sense.
Order.
Fallen Order.
Here, I'll fix it in your brain.
Jedi Astro.
Think of
Chain.
all of the younglings falling down. It's an order of
Fallen
younglings
order.
falling down as Anakin slaughtered them all. So now there you go. Fallen
I
order.
gotta say, Anakin did a terrible job.
Yeah, he really
like there are a shit ton of Jedi still alive. Like every new game and story and book and movie is always like this Jedi survived.
That
Now
title-
these 3 Jedi
The
survived.
title works as a subtitle for anything.
Fallen Order?
No, Astro,
Astral Chain.
God.
Gotcha.
Star Wars.
You're right.
Astro Chain. What? That's awesome.
Avengers.
Astro Chain.
Oh my god. Actually, in Last Jedi, there is an astral chain.
Oh yes.
It's Rey and Kylo's thing. They have an astral chain.
Marvelous Spider-Man. Astro Chain. No, this is great. Now, how can you say that's a bad name?
Is
I
it a
just
good
don't
name
get it.
if it can apply to everything?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Like that's like.
I mean, Guile's theme you can apply to everything. That's an awesome theme.
At least they didn't make it more.
Or sorry.
Vengeance.
Guile's theme is a cold theme.
There you go.
Kool-Aid Jammers, Astral Chain.
Like no.
See, now it works. I can see that as a flavor.
What flavor is it?
It'd be
Is it like?
blue.
Is it
It'd be blue.
like an icy blue?
yeah.
Oh,
See?
that's kind of cool. That's awesome. These little, you get the Astral Chain version of these DX Racer chairs.
Death Battle Cast, Astral Chain.
Man, that name's so cool. Platinum is like the best video game company. They are! Revengeance. Who would have thought of that? No one in any boardroom would have wrote that name on a board. Because that word doesn't exist. Like, Revengeance. Like, wait a minute.
Perfect.
Like,
Okay, so
It's like
real
revenge
quick.
and vengeance.
there you go. I love the people. My favorite part of like silly stuff is the people who said yes to it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Of
so
course.
good.
Everyone in the room.
All right, so
Keanu Reeves.
real quick, just kind of knocking through some of the highlights. So yeah, Keanu Reeves, Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk looks so good.
Yeah,
looks really good.
that
It's
game was awesome.
taking forever we heard about that game like 6 years ago or something like that,
Oh,
right?
it's been a long
It's been a
time.
long time, but like it looks like it's gonna live up to the hype.
Yeah,
Finally
Like,
coming out.
every time they show something new about it, I'm super
Yeah.
hyped about
It's
it.
coming out next year. When? March?
Yes, no, April 16th
Oh, whole another year.
next year. Yeah, about a year from now.
Final
so-
Fantasy.
Yes, the Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I'm so glad I waited
I'm still not
to play Final Fantasy VII
sure
all these
what's
years.
going on with it being episodic. They announced it was going to be episodic ages ago, and they've kind of just not mentioned
Well,
that.
they mentioned it has 2 Blu-ray discs, which I think is awesome because
Yeah.
like that's a great.
So I guess it's not
No,
episodic.
It might still be. I mean, they've
understand.
only showed
Yeah, the first
bigger
part of the
stuff.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that.
and Sephiroth is in there, which I don't
it was like a
think
flashback
he
thing.
was. I don't know. I've never played the games. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It looks like they're. Sephiroth is in the first part because
Okay.
he kind of has a flashback to.
yeah, Sam had that whole.
It's one of those
conversation.
things where I just know the
Yeah.
Lore
pop
from
culture. Yeah, yeah. And but I've played all the other stuff though. It's just that I can't play.
I've played all the Final Fantasies except for this
No,
one.
like all the others Final Fantasy VII games, like the Zack one.
Oh, yeah.
the
I played
Advent
all of the
Children
Final
one.
Fantasy VII games
Dirge
except
of
for
Cerberus.
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, because it looks awful. It looks.
Well, then this will be the
I know. I made a tweet. I was like, I'm glad I waited all these years to play this game.
I was playing it. I was playing through on my Switch and stopped when they announced.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm gonna wait.
Great. It looks awesome. It looks so sick.
Yeah, it
I'm
looks
so
great.
glad I waited. This is great.
All right. Well, I just want to mention that I think Outer Worlds looks awesome or cold.
Outer Worlds.
That's the that's the guys who made Fallout New Vegas are making it.
Oh
with,
yeah.
Obsidian.
That looks pretty cool.
I think it looks really cool.
I
I don't
like
see a lot of
space
people
games.
talking about it. I really want.
I
that
like
game.
space games where it's like big open. We haven't had too many of those.
Yep. Can we just
Well,
talk about?
because No Man's Sky came out and everybody was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no."
Apparently, it's
it
way
is.
better now, but it's just one
No
of those
Man's
things.
Sky Next
Yeah.
or whatever it's called. Yeah. Well, No Man's Sky and Mass Effect Andromeda came out, and both of them were like big open world space environments, and they were fucking boring.
Yeah, that's fuck. How can you make like big space exploration boring?
Yeah, you have them travel to a
You
whole
can
bunch
do
of
it.
different worlds,
Like-
and
they're all
you have
empty.
almost
But, like,
no enemies.
you
Yeah,
can even-
exactly.
But like you
There's
can even
nothing
do
there.
something like
You make
Guardians-
it like real life.
You can even do something like the Guardians movies where they don't travel all of fucking space. They go to like a few key locations, and
Yeah.
those locations seem like robust.
Oh, like Mass Effect. Like normal Mass Effect.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right.
So Watch Dogs Legion. I'm very curious
I
how
haven't
this
seen
thing
that
is
yet.
going to work. So
Play
the,
as
the,
anyone.
the idea is that you can literally play as any character and or
That's
any
cool.
of the people in the city, and they all have unique animations and voice acting and
Wow.
backgrounds and abilities and things like that. They showed like you can play as this old lady who is a former assassin. She kills people like an old lady would. Like here, it tricks them into-
Werther's original.
yeah, like that kind of thing.
Oh, thank you,
Poison.
ma'am. It was poison.
Now you've been knocked down and you can't get up.
She's Spider-Man's away.
I was thinking like Black Widow, but then I combined the two. It was a grappling hook at first, and then
she's
my
got a
wrist
cane.
just did that.
And you made the noise.
Grappling hook.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thwip, thwip. So I just don't
Spider
really.
Gwen.
It seems very ambitious.
Spider Grandma.
Spider. That's fantastic.
Please fan art. Please fan art for Spider Grandma. Grandma.
Astro Chain.
All right. We got to start wrapping this up. I just want to
Banjo.
say Banjo Kazooie
Banjo.
Smash.
Oh yeah, Nick Kramer.
I'm
Yeah.
so sad that
Nick-
Nick's not here for this episode.
He's
'cause
probably, freaking out
losing his
about it.
mind.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably can't bring him on because he probably died from a heart attack.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest
And
He
one
never
day
gets
after his
to play
anniversary
it.
too. Rough.
That sucks.
Animal Crossing, we got to see something about that. It's you
cute.
camp.
Is Animal Crossing fun?
I don't know. I've never played
Never
it.
played it.
It's
Very
never-
specific niche.
It's never looked interesting to me, but the
Yeah.
people who do play it just
Have you ever
love
tried it?
They're
They
die
love
hard.
it.
Yeah.
They're like,
April's played it, and I'm like, I've watched a bit, and I'm just
Like
I don't-
Animal Crossing for me is one of those games where I did play the first one. I got my gold trophy or statue or whatever. Like I play the game a lot, and I feel like I tried playing, what was it, New Leaf? And it just felt like more of the same. And I was like, like there are new features, but I just can't get into it because I feel like I already did all of this.
Yeah.
And I know that's very specific to me. Like, it's not necessarily a bad game. It's just I don't feel like I'm getting anything new out of it because the stuff that I did get out of it from the first game I'm getting the same out of this game. Yeah. And that's very specific to me. I definitely see the appeal. And it's cool to me that is so popular because it is a very different calm game. And I like that that's popular. That's good. I hope that it stays popular for a long time.
Yeah, the most enjoyment I've ever gotten out of Animal Crossing was watching Nick's 3DS mess up and him lose his entire town. It was awesome.
And that's why you don't like Animal Crossing generally, or you can't get into it because you like chaos.
I do like
and
chaos.
nonsense and crazy things happening, and that's not what Animal Crossing is typically about until somebody loses all their data.
God, it was funny.
I don't mind a calm game every now and then.
Sure.
Every few years, I'll play a calm.
Every few years, I'll take a break from the Devil May Cry nonsense.
Flashing the
Flashy
JRP,
insanity.
the crazy low angle, swift camera movements, and just sit there and plant a tree.
But what about Breath of the Wild 2? Breath of the Wild 2 is coming.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so glad because given Nintendo's track record, I was fully expecting them to just like abandon everything that they built up with Breath of the Wild and start making an entirely new version of Zelda. And I was like, sure, you can do that. But Breath of the Wild was so good.
So
but
good.
At the same time, felt like a first try at this. And I feel like they could do so much more with it, especially in terms of like story and world building.
Yeah.
Because it was as big as Breath of the Wild was, there's still lots of stuff that they could still build up.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
There's plenty of stuff they could do more with. So I'm very glad that they're doing that. And it looks like it's like the same world, but like maybe everything's floating or something. Like it kind of showed Hyrule Castle exploding up into the sky a little bit. So I don't know. It's going to be really cool to see, which would be great because you use the glider to go through like floating islands and stuff. That could be cool.
Yeah.
But they didn't show a lot. So I don't know what it's about outside of the fact that there's some like creepy skeleton dude underground.
And the tree with the life worms or whatever those things are.
It actually reminded me of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, it reminded me of Princess Mononoke.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
It'd be sick if it was like a horror game.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
All right. But in a twist, Link's a werewolf. No! Don't do it
Again.
Don't do it again. He wasn't
Zelda.
He wasn't a werewolf. He could just turn into a wolf and take Midnight. That was weird.
It's kind of a werewolf.
Yeah, I guess.
It's sort of. It's not literally the same. I don't know. It's basically a werewolf.
Yeah. That was weird. That was the one on Wii, right? Twilight Princess.
One of the ones on Wii. Yeah, Twilight Princess.
Oh, sorry. They did the generation jump just like they did with Breath of the Wild, which is like, I mean, it is coming to GameCube, but it sucks on it. So like, you gotta get the Wii to get the real experience.
Except all they did for the Wii one was change the button push for the sword swing to a Wii swing, so it's not even actual motion controls.
Right, and so it's better on GameCube.
Pretending to push the button by swinging the Wii remote, and it sucked because it made your wrist it hurt your wrist. But when it would have been way easier and better to just use a fucking button on the GameCube. I regret buying that thing on the Wii so much that I almost didn't get Breath of the Wild on Switch. I almost got it on Wii U because I was like, well, it's just going to be the same problem as Twilight Princess, blah, blah, blah. But I'm very glad I got it on Switch.
Yeah, awesome. I got it on Wii U because of the GameCube thing.
Well,
but I never beat Twilight Princess because Chance and I he stayed over at my place and we're just like, let's see how far in the game we could get. And we got like stupidly far, but then I fell asleep and then he just kept going for like 6 hours. And then I woke up and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I played a lot. And I'm just like, where are we? Oh. Anyway.
All right, so we need to wrap this up. So let's get to the community death battle.
Oh, that's right.
We still have one more section to do.
No, I was just remembering what the matchup was.
What it was,
It's gonna be fun.
Astro Chain.
Astro.
Shit, what is? Oh, right. It's the Camp Camp trio versus the DuckTales trio.
Yep.
Trio? Which kids?
Huey, Dewey, and Louie?
No, I was talking about from Camp Camp. Wait, is
Really?
that kid part
Max,
of the
Neil,
main?
and Nicky, Neil, and Max.
Is Nicky part of the main three?
Yes.
I thought it was another
Have you
kid.
not watched Camp Camp?
Yes.
They are the main. Like, there's a bunch of other like characters that recur a lot, but like they are the main.
Damn, I don't know. Maybe
What show are you
I don't
watching?
know. I don't know. I guess
All
I
right,
just think about Max and the little girl.
I'll save you
Yeah.
right now by just getting into the community death battle. As always, you can use #DeathBattleCast to let us know who you think should win and why. So we've got an answer from Real Bowser Dude for the DuckTales trio. And he says the Duck Triplets should win, even in just the new series. They've been shown to dodge magic blasts and lightning. Plus, their plethora of adventures with Scrooge add a ton of experience that the Camp Camp kids just don't have.
Got it. Also love his little avatar there.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And then for the Camp Camp trio from Golden Monkey, they say Max knitted 3 life-size dolls in 8 seconds. Ran across an ultimate frisbee field, which is 70 meters, in 8 seconds. That's 19 miles per hour, and has burned down several camps in one day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is long. Nikki communicated with a wolf and commanded it to kill in 4 seconds. Accurately shot an arrow near David's head and survived jumping off a cliff unharmed.
Interesting.
Neil can create a stable batch of nitroglycerin in 15 to 16 seconds. Created a chatbot out of I forgot out of 20-year-old graphics calculators with a self-evolving AI, and built a playpen that transforms into a bunker in less than a day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Great work.
I don't know. I kind of now just want to give it to Camp
I
Camp
do
because that
too.
guy really did the work.
Really did the work.
yeah, I mean, both sets of trios have crazy cartoon physics nonsense going on.
Yeah.
The DuckTales trio obviously has more to draw from because they've been around for decades upon decades.
Remember, we said we're just doing the shows though, but just both animated series.
Even in terms of the shows, they still have
Yeah.
more to draw from.
Right.
But I don't know. This is a tricky one.
I'm gonna go with the DuckTales. Unfortunately, more cartoon bullshit to draw from.
Right.
Like, and probably like crazier cartoon bullshit. Like,
But you're just saying that off of conjecture, like you just assume that there's more to draw.
Right.
from.
not
There's
well,
gotta be
not even only
something
that. Like,
to trump.
I feel like, you know, the DuckTales will probably be the ones that get smashed with an anvil, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Oh, sure.
Like that type of, like a different level of cartoon
same
bullshit.
as Camp Camp, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Well,
Has Nikki not been hit by something
I mean,
like
she
that?
fell off a cliff apparently.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the weird cartoon bullshit where you get smashed and then you float up like a piece of paper. Like that level of
Or
cartoon.
you just blow into your
yeah,
thumb.
like that type of cartoon bullshit.
No, I want to say, like, my gut tells me that DuckTales will win because I know there's going to be something just fucking ludicrous in one of the episodes.
Sure.
But I'm going to go with Camp Camp just because that dude really, like,
Yeah.
did his
No, no,
homework.
no.
Sure. What do you think, Josh?
I'm gonna go Camp Camp. But also, like, we're not gonna talk about how it's humans versus ducks. Like, humans would have a duck fight, right? Like, there's some mean ducks out there, but I feel like more often than not, a human can take a duck.
Well,
So-
they are
True.
little kids.
And our little kids.
I remember being a little kid.
Little kids are feisty.
I remember being a little kid and going to a farm, and this swarm of ducks attacked me, and I was terrified. I remember that very
yeah, I
specifically.
feel. I feel like
I did survive. I
um,
climbed up on like a bench, like a picnic table.
Yeah.
That's how I
Thumbs.
survived.
as tough.
That's what I'm talking
as
about.
tough as she is, I feel like the little girl might either like the ducks, like they're cute,
Sure.
or whatever, or be like terrified of them, like and she would
If
run
she
away.
can control animals, because she did the wolf thing, I wonder, does that mean she can?
Yeah, but that was
control-
also
ducks.
like an actual wolf. These
Right.
are anthropomorphic, intelligent
Very
duck
true.
people.
That's true.
That's true.
I don't,
going Camp Camp.
I don't actually know the size relativity of Huey, Dewey, and Louie to like 10-year-old kids.
Yeah, I don't
Are
know.
they? They're not the size of
They
ducks.
gotta be pretty. Even if they're not the size of ducks, they gotta be like maybe like a little.
I don't know.
taller.
So here, I've
That's
thought
huge.
about this before.
That's terrifying.
Because there's no
Wearing a
humans.
shirt.
There's no humans in the DuckTale world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get dogs. So is everything actually like scaled down because the dog people who are walking the size of humans are just like the height of dogs standing up?
No, there's some big dogs out there
smaller.
though. There are like some big.
I know
dogs
there's
out
some
there.
big dogs out there.
Is Pluto the size of a normal dog?
Right.
Which one?
I don't know.
I was thinking.
Oh, this is
about-
how you can figure it
I was
out.
thinking about Goofy. Sorry.
If Pluto's the size of a normal dog, you could compare him to Mickey, and then you
Because
could
then
compare
Mickey would
Mickey
be
to
like a 5-foot-tall humanoid, essentially.
I thought Pluto was Goofy's
Right?
dog.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's
Mickey's dog.
No, Pluto's
They just
Mickey's
pair
dog.
them up a lot for some reason.
I was
'cause
just
they're
about to
both
say,
dogs.
whose dog is that?
And it's
What
very
dog
It'd be
is it?
weird if Goofy owned a dog.
He does though.
Well, Pluto's Mickey's.
Yeah.
Okay, so what dog is it with Goofy?
No, they just
Goof?
That's
have a
Oh,
Mickey's
you're
dog.
thinking of
Just-
Max's son.
Oh, yeah.
No, wait. Either I'm confused. There's a point to where one anthropomorphic intelligent dog is commanding like a regular like Mickey Mouse dog or whatever.
There are
That's probably Pluto.
That's probably happened.
There are plenty of
Right, so he owns that dog.
No,
Dorian, I can walk up to a dog out in the animation right now and ask it to sit.
But he
Does that
is a
mean
dog.
it's my dog?
He is a dog.
Oh no,
and he
we're
has
getting
a dog.
into the
We're back onto
existential.
this again.
Like we've talked about this a bunch of times.
Oh, did we?
You have been in this conversation. I swear you've
telling
been in
you,
this conversation before.
I'll quickest one ever. And the theory that we had at the end was just like, it's the evolutionary process that split off, right? It's like if we evolved from apes, there's still apes in the world, right? So the dogs evolved, and there's still dogs in the world.
What?
Or they have a
But
common
there's such a
ancestor.
big
Yeah,
gap
we
from
didn't
apes.
evolve from apes. We evolved from the same
That's
common
such a-
ancestor as the apes.
Right, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He still looks like a dog. We don't
You
look
can
like
have a
apes,
pet monkey.
But I don't look like the monkey.
because it's, we didn't.
Goofy looks like that dog.
he doesn't.
Yes, if that dog stood up and put on a shirt and hat, it would be so similar.
Post show.
All right.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw out my vote for the Ducks.
Ducks.
I gotta
go
throw
for
out a
the
vote for
Ducks,
them.
man. I gotta-
I think they're more
I feel like-
consistently cartoon physics.
Camp
characters.
is very much cartoon physics, and they can do a lot of stuff, but it's very like contained. Like they won't get flat.
Although I do think they would have trouble against the Camp Trio's personalities.
True.
Because they are angry little fuckers. And actually, that might
Max is brutal.
Max is
yeah. Okay, I got to change my vote just because Max would like in a death battle we do remove the whole idea of whether or not they want to kill, but that's the only personality trait we remove. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are still going to be lovable little goofballs.
Yeah.
As Max, if you remove his morality, Max suddenly becomes like a psychotic killer. So
That's true.
yeah, I'm gonna vote specifically for Max. He will kill everybody. All right, but as always, it's up to you guys. So let's go ahead and bring up the poll. And we've got wow, all right,
yeah.
24% for Camp and 76% for Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah, I mean, we just voted that way because we're biased, right?
Yes, definitely, absolutely. Yeah.
Strong brat.
By the way, you can't find a photo of Pluto in Goofy's clothing.
See?
You just can't.
Really?
It's-
Oh well, you're just not looking at the rule 44,
They can't.
34, whatever.
No, I'm not going there.
Well-
Man, we almost got through this episode without
Almost.
referencing.
But
I mean,
here we are.
okay. Let's go ahead and set up next week's community death battle. This one is actually a death battle request that I've seen a lot, and I'm curious to see why. Like what you guys think of this matchup and who you think would win and why. This is specifically Krillin from Dragon Ball Z versus
Ooh, hey.
Saitama from One Punch Man.
It's because they're bald.
Is that all, or is there
It's 'cause
something
they're
else?
bald and they both are anime.
It can't be
heroes.
as simple as that. So the big question here is whether or not Saitama has a limit that
The
Krillin
fuck
can
is
take
Krillin
advantage
gonna
of.
do?
Destructo disc.
You got the first part right. Destruct
He's
is
gonna,
what he's
gonna do Destructo Disc, and Saitama is literally gonna squat side to side and make after images of himself to get around the Destructo Disc and fight him. Like I don't understand.
and punch him once into oblivion.
Even without reading the manga, because I'm caught up on the manga. Even without reading that, you just stick to the anime. He literally just fought a guy without fighting him. He was trying to keep his wig on the entire time, and the guy was going all in, like destroying the ground, flipping up the thing, and the guy's just like, my wig's gonna come on, they're gonna see who I am. And the guy was literally just fighting himself because he couldn't hurt Saitama.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I've looked into this. This conversation very much seems to be a stomp, but everybody can't agree on which character is actually the stomping one. Some people think Saitama should win because he's broken his limiter or whatever, and he can punch anybody to oblivion. But other people say he's never been able to show that he can reach Dragon Ball levels, and he said that he has a set limit. He has said that he has reached his peak, and he doesn't feel like he can
You've read the
reach
manga?
anymore because,
The limiter thing's in the manga. You read the manga?
yeah, it is in the manga.
Yeah,
Yes,
you read it?
I know
Okay.
about this shit. So
well,
they
we'll
say,
see.
well, Krillin should be way more powerful than him because he's fighting with gods and whatnot.
No, he's not!
He's in the battle of...
He's fighting next to gods.
All right.
He's not.
Well, that's what we'll figure out.
We'll figure it out next week.
That's what
Use
we'll
the
figure out next
hashtag
week.
Death Battle Cast.
Let us know who you think should win and why using hashtag Death Battle Cast. Please let us know the big details about why you think your character would win. I don't want the answer to be like One Punch Man will win because he kills everybody in one punch.
He can't even beat 18.
Like let's give.
He can't even beat 18.
Well, he did beat somebody who one shot 18 in the tournament. So
I gotta watch that tournament again.
all right,
Everyone brings up these things that these people do.
All right, so let us know using hashtag Death Battle Cast. We will talk about that next week. Thank you for joining us for another episode. I know we went a little longer
Of
than
Astral
usual.
Chain.
Astral
right.
Chain. I cannot wait to merch come out.
We'll
with
talk more about Astral Chain in our
Astral
post-show
Chain.
Sudden Death. If you're a first member, you can join us for that when that goes live on Tuesday or whenever the hell it goes live. I can never remember. At some point.
Nailed it. See you there.
See ya.
Ruby.
Be awesome.
Astral Chain.
Goodbye.